firing people notoriously sucks. It's really, really awful. And we've had to do it a fair amount. The biggest takeaway on how to do this is two things. One, remove the emotion from the decision. Have it down to strict behaviours and KPIs. Is there a fixed, finite reason as to why we cannot keep you? So we had a situation with a tutor in our company who was lovely, such an awesome guy, and we made a bit of a hiccup in our hiring process that we skipped a load of it because he was a referral. The problem was his stats of his stay rates and improvement rates, like his grade improvements of what we offer, were bad, were really bad. His stay rates were so low that we didn't make money on anyone we sent him. We actually just wasted money. And then his grade improvements were low. And so no wonder people weren't staying and having a good time. And we went through this idea of a performance improvement plan to say, like, look, we love you, you're part of the team, you're awesome, but these numbers don't work for the company. And so what we're going to do is help you improve these. And we need to see an improvement. And then it came around to the time of, we reviewed it, no improvement had been made, and we had to get rid of him. And it was taken as a surprise, as a shock. And this kind of leads, we'll come on to the second point in a bit, but within this first point, when you have metrics like this, it means that when you have to let someone go, it's not a shock. And so what was surprising about this specific situation is that it came out of the blue for him, which is odd because we've been talking about it for months, about the situation where the numbers aren't meant where they meant to be, and we need them to be higher in order to keep him here. And the response was, well, he didn't realise it was that serious. That may be a miscommunication on our part, but also not reaching the sufficient numbers of your job, and that being connected with you keeping your job, that misunderstanding, I kind of think should be built in terms of, like, if your employer says you're not doing good enough and we can't keep you if you don't improve, should have a moment in your brain to say, I will not stay if I do not improve, because that's the point of it. And I guess we could be far more explicit with that. And we will be going forward. That's how we improve. And so that's the first bit, is having it to be determined by quantities rather than qualitative things. So like how you feel. Break down the how we feel into distinct behaviours and numbers and measurable units. And it becomes so much easier to get rid of people, because you wouldn't have brought them on in the first place if they weren't the right culture fit. And sometimes you're wrong. Some people end up being, not very nice, and they have this facade that we thought was them and it's not. And in that situation, it's pretty easy to let people go, because if they've been a dick, you're like, great, get out. But if they haven't, that's where it becomes tricky, and this massively helps. And it is also a much easier conversation to be like, do you have any solutions to fix this? Okay, I've got some solutions, let's try these. Do you have solutions? You do, amazing, let's try them. Oh, you don't? Well, I'm out of options, now we can't keep you. Right, that's it. So then part two of how to make this a much easier process is make sure that everyone leaves with value. And this is given for every sort of interaction that you should have with someone, is make sure that they leave having been better for knowing you. That will look very different for different situations. For a sales call, you want to give them the solution to do it without you. For hiring, it may be the single piece of feedback they need to not make this mistake in the future. It might be an introduction to someone else, or something they didn't realise about the way that they want to work and compared to we work, so that they know what question to ask next time and say, hey, look, considering the lifestyle that you want and all this sort of stuff and what we've spoken about, you need something that looks more like this. And so in your next interview, ask this question, because it clearly is that important to you. As an example, it really depends on the situation, but make sure they leave having gone, wow, that has increased the likelihood I succeed next time. Because that way they can't leave with the sour taste. Yeah, sadness is going to happen, right? If you were enjoying it, if you're committed to something, it is going to be sad. But it doesn't mean that they won't make bad decisions, because sad people often make angry decisions. And if we can give them the value, give them something to walk away from that they can think back on and say, although the situation was sad, it was beneficial, they're much less likely to make angry decisions and do things that would be burning bridges, right? We don't ever want that. You don't burn bridges with them because you don't want them spreading the word and ruining your reputation. And similarly, they shouldn't want to burn bridges with you because it's not going to help them get hired again when they need a letter of recommendation. Because as employers, we don't lie, or I don't lie, when people ask for a letter of recommendation. But if they ask specific questions, I will answer them honestly if I have positive things to say, which I probably will because I wouldn't have hired you in the first place if you didn't. But then if they ask specific questions about the reason why we left, or, you know, they dug in deep about the one specific issue, like, we're not going to lie because that would be, in their situation, I would need to know that. I would want to know that, and I'd be very grateful to do so. So those are the two things. Measure by metrics rather than qualitative things, rather than emotions. And secondly, make sure that people leave with value. And that way people leave a firing saying thank you, which surprisingly I've had quite a few times now. It's a massive difference from my first ever firing where someone was on their knees begging and I unfired them and then I had to call them back and fire them again 30 minutes later. It sucked. Don't do that. All right, guys, have a great day.